Hello fellow travelers, here we are at the San Jose, California train station, and we're about to get on board Amtrak's Hello fellow travelers, here we are in San Jose, California, and we're about to hop on the Coast Starlight for a return up to Seattle. So let me put my mask on and we'll head up there. On this trip, what we're going to do is we're going to do something different. Instead of doing a regular vlog, I'm going to do filming, and I'm going to tell you about the Coast Starlight and the train route up to Seattle. So let's go. And it's time to board Amtrak's Coast Starlight. The boarding process in San Jose was very simple. They told us exactly where to stand, so when the train stopped, we could just step onto the train. We like easy boarding processes. As I boarded the train, I met my room attendant. My room was all made up, and she gave me a dinner reservation for right away. And we're on board the Coast Starlight for Seattle, and my room's already made up. Let's go to dinner. There's always something special about eating in the dining car. Tonight I had the herb roasted chicken, which was delicious, and I had the carrot cake, and that's become one of my favorites. That dinner was really good. So now let's go back to our room and see what's going on there. All right, we're off to a good start on our trip. We've left San Jose. Right now, I think we're in Oakland. I've had dinner. My room was made up. So I think what I'm gonna do is go to bed, and in the morning, we'll see you again. So on that note, I just want to say good night, sleep tight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Overnight, our train traveled through the Bay Area into Northern California. From there, we crossed the border into Southern Oregon, and everybody began to wake up somewhere in Southern Oregon. Good morning. It's always great to wake up on board the train and look out the window and see the scenery going by. It's always beautiful. And it's also a great way to start your day. Good morning from the Coast Starlight. So I think I slept pretty well. And now, let me do it this way. Good morning from the Coast Starlight. I think I slept pretty well, so we're gonna go have breakfast now, so let's go. Breakfast in the dining car was a railroad omelet, and boy was it good. And it looks like the room is all made up. And right now we're stopping in Klamath Falls, Oregon. A beautiful little town in Southern Oregon. As we're pulling out of Klamath Falls, let me tell you a little bit about the Coast Starlight. The Coast Starlight was an Amtrak creation. Before Amtrak, there was no way to travel the length of the West Coast. So if you needed to go from Los Angeles to Seattle, you'd have to change trains. Let me tell you how it used to work. So if you're a passenger boarding in Los Angeles Union Station, you'd catch the Southern Pacific to Portland, Oregon. Once your train got to Portland, Oregon, you'd have to change trains and get on the Great Northern, Northern Pacific, or Union Pacific train and continue on to Seattle. So as you can imagine, that was a huge hassle for passengers. So when Amtrak was created, they created a direct train that runs from Los Angeles to Seattle, solving the problem of having to change trains in Portland. The Coast Starlight is named after two of Southern Pacific trains, the Coast Daylight and the Starlight. That's where they got the name, the Coast Starlight. The trip from Los Angeles to Seattle covers a total distance of 1,377 miles, and the average journey time is 34 hours and 44 minutes. So it's raining outside, and so we're just sitting here in the room looking out the window, just watching the scenery go by. It's kind of pretty because it's overcast and rainy, and you've got the beautiful woods, and just a good day to be on the train, watch the world go by. All right, we are nearing the mountain passes in southern Oregon, so let's just go ahead and look out the window and take a look at these views here, because this is always a spectacular trip as we go through the mountains in southern Oregon. After leaving Chemult, the train will descend the mountain passes of southern Oregon into the Willamette Valley. This journey will take us a total of 3 hours. As our train continues down the mountain passes, we'll have spectacular views. And if you're afraid of heights, don't look down. There are some parts of this journey where it appears that you're on the edge of a cliff, but you're actually very safe, so don't worry about it. The scenery that we're seeing is one of the reasons why the Coast Starlight is often called one of America's most beautiful trains, and I have to agree with them. As our train continues its journey, we'll cross many bridges, and we'll go through several tunnels, as we're in right now. And we'll also go through many snow sheds, and we're coming up on a snow shed right now. So building this line was an engineering feat. The scenery on this train is just beautiful, but if you're afraid of heights, whatever you do, don't look down, because it's like we're on the side of a cliff and it's straight down. Anyway, let's look out the window some more and see what else we can see. Several years ago, there was a landslide on the route of the Coast Starlight. No one was injured and no one was around, but a landslide happened. So all this mud came down the hill and it closed the tracks for several weeks. So we're passing that right now. And as you can see, slowly, nature is taking over the hill again. Within a few years, this hillside will be covered with trees, and you'll never know that there was a landslide at this location. Our train is stopped here so that we can let a freight train pass us, and this is actually a good point for me to get up and walk down to the lounge car. So let's go down there and see what we can see. All right, so we're going to check out the lounge car for a while, and we'll have lunch. Our train is just now leaving Eugene, Oregon. In Eugene, we had a lot of people get on that were traveling north to Portland and Seattle. So in case you don't know, Eugene is part of the Amtrak Cascade Corridor, which runs from Vancouver, BC to Seattle to Portland and ends in Eugene. So there's a lot of train travel between those cities on the Amtrak Cascade line. The Amtrak Cascade line uses the exact same tracks as the Coast Starlight between Eugene and Seattle. So a lot of passengers will take the Coast Starlight or they'll take the Amtrak Cascades. They'll just get on the next available train to head to their destination. And it's easy and it works for us. The dining car is just called lunch reservations, so it's time to get up from the lounge car, walk through the business class car into the dining car. So let's just take a quick stroll through business class and grab lunch. One thing that's great about traveling on the sleepers on Amtrak is they feed you the entire trip. This will be my third meal in the dining car since I've gotten on the train. For lunch I had the grilled cheese and chips, and it was great. I'm full. All right, lunch on the train was really good. And now we're going into our room. And we're gonna take a short nap until we get to Portland. So, we'll see you in Portland. While I was taking a nap in my roomette, our train traveled through the Willamette Valley. Here you'll find lots of agricultural land, and you'll also find several forests. It's a very beautiful area. On the way down from Seattle, we passed Willamette Falls, and here we are passing Willamette Falls going the other direction. So look closely and you can see the beautiful falls. Someday they'll be beautiful again. The Grand Ronde tribe of Oregon has recently bought a lot of this abandoned buildings, and they plan to tear it down and make it into a beautiful nature area. So we can hardly wait to see what they're going to do with this. In case you don't remember, Willamette Falls is the largest waterfall in the Northwest. It's a classic horseshoe shape of a waterfall, 1,500 feet wide and 40 feet tall. I bet this was a very beautiful area originally before they built all these buildings and then abandoned them. So we'll see what the Indian tribe does with it, but I imagine in the future Willamette Falls will be very beautiful and everybody will know about it. All right, I had a good nap, but let's look out the window now as we pull into the Portland station. We're almost there. We just got to go over the steel bridge and then make the turn into the station. We're crossing the Willamette River, which runs through downtown Portland. If you look on the right side of your screen, you can see a park. That used to be a highway, and they took that out and made it into a beautiful waterfront park right in downtown Portland. The Willamette River is a tributary of the Columbia River, and it accounts for 12 to 15% of the Columbia River's flow. The Willamette River runs 187 miles, and it's located in the Willamette Valley, which is between the Oregon Coast Range and the Cascade Mountains. Because this river runs through downtown Portland, Portland has a lot of bridges. Right now we're crossing the Steel Bridge, which is a double-deck bridge, So one deck is for railroad and the other deck is for cars. There's also a pedestrian bridge attached to this. So we're almost to the other side of the bridge, and then we'll be pulling into the station. Alright, we have made it to Portland, Oregon. It's about 4 more hours and we'll be to Seattle. So now let's go get back on the train, and soon we'll be to Seattle, but we're gonna have dinner before we get there. So here we go, back on the train. After departing Portland Union Station, our train will cross the Willamette River again, and then we'll cross the Columbia River into Vancouver, Washington, and we'll be in Washington State. So here's our final leg of the trip back to Seattle. All right, it's time to go get dinner, so we're gonna head out there into the dining car, get a little dinner, and then we'll be in Seattle, if you can believe it already. So this trip has just flown by. So let's go see what's in the dining car. This dinner will be my 4th meal since I boarded the train. I'm kind of full after lunch and breakfast. For dinner, I decided just to eat the tortellini, so no starters or no salads. But even though I was full, I still had room for carrot cake. Yum, yum. All right, we're just back from dinner, and I gotta say that Amtrak is really upped their game in the dining room because it is really good. So, very pleased with their dining. Fresh tablecloths, flowers, and great food. What more could you want? Anyway, looking out the window here, we're almost to Seattle. So let's just look out the window and we'll see Puget Sound. Yay! Another reason that the Coast Starlight is called one of America's most beautiful trains is because of the route between Tacoma and Seattle along the Puget Sound. So here we're cruising along and we've got the beautiful sunset over the Puget Sound. Let's just look out the window and enjoy the views. It's my understanding that at some point in the future, passenger trains will no longer use this route. So instead they'll use the Port Defiance bypass from Tacoma to Lakewood to Olympia and on down to Portland. So they'll go inland instead of along the Puget Sound. So we should consider ourselves lucky that we got to do this journey along the Puget Sound on Amtrak's Coast Starlight. It's a very beautiful part of the trip. At this point in our trip, our train is passing through Tacoma. So from the train, I was able to have a really good view of Mount Rainier, and you can see it right here. So as we like to say in the Seattle area, the mountain was out today. Wow, I don't know if you can see that, but the mountain, Mount Rainier, is out. So we're in Tacoma. So we're almost to Seattle, so I gotta start packing up my room and get ready to get off this train. So we'll see you at King Street Station in downtown Seattle. After departing Tacoma, it was a 1-hour trip up to Seattle, and as you can see, we arrived right on time and the sun was just starting to set, so we had beautiful views as we arrived in the King Street station. Everything about this trip on the Coast Starlight was perfect. We were right on time the entire trip. My room attendant was fantastic, very attentive and very professional. The food in the dining car, that was great. I had 4 meals. They were all really good, and I got off the train and was full for the next few days. Amtrak has just rolled out their new linens, pillows, sheets, and blankets in the bedrooms and the roomettes, and they were very comfortable, and I liked them. So everything about this trip was fantastic. So now I just need to find another reason to take a Coast Starlight trip back to San Jose to visit the relatives again. Maybe this winter when it's cold and wet in Seattle, we can go down to sunny California. And we're here in Seattle, so let's go get off. All right, we made it to Seattle. So I wanted to say thank you for watching. I had a great time taking you with us. I will see you in the next video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click the little bell to be notified of future videos. And on that note, have a great day, and we'll see you later.